Hi, Church. Pastor Jeff here with another Trinity check-in, and I just have to do this. This video goes out at 3:30, but I'm recording it at 2:30 during the thunderstorm, and I have never been so tempted to go back to my original career and give you all a weather update with the radar, but that's just for my pleasure and probably for my dad who's watching this and remembers those days. What I do want to talk to you about, Church, is last Sunday. You know, sometimes days are so good that it pays to take a victory lap. You know, the glory goes to God, not to us. But we had such a good day around here at church last Sunday, and I will guarantee you that none of you saw every bit of it. I'm the pastor, and I didn't see every bit of it. And I want you to. I want you to know more of what happened. So last Sunday was our big kickoff. School started in Lincoln middle of last week, and so Sunday was the first week we restarted Sunday school and had all the kids back in youth group and all of that. And of course we had the blessing of the backpacks, and it was awesome. So I'm going to talk through it so you can know everything that happened around here, or at least a better view of it. It started with Sunday school, where we had 66 kids here. That is a bunch, and that means that there were rooms that were absolutely packed downstairs. It's first of all just nice to have that energy back in the building of all the kids coming and being dropped off and all the happy greetings that go along with it. Not that we don't get some of that every week, but you know what I mean. Of special celebration, though, is the high school class. Now, let me just tell you, oftentimes with youth ministry, most of it focuses on middle school, because by the time you get to high school, it kind of drops off a little bit. You're getting busier, getting a little more independent. However, our high school class right now is huge. It's in room 216, so one of the rooms on the second floor, the far end of the hall, and there were enough high schoolers in there that they had to bring in extra chairs. It was a real joy. Now, unfortunately, I don't have any pictures I can show you because we're still waiting to get photo release forms from the parents. That's something that we take very seriously, actually. We don't show pictures unless we have a release form or unless they're zoomed out and of a crowd. I do have one of those for you in a minute, because while Sunday school was going on, we had a 9:30 worship back with lots of people there too. I don't have the number on that one. I forgot to look before I started. But well, first of all, I don't want to pass over the fact that it was just a good service. The music was on, the energy was in the room. I got to preach on why do people need Jesus, which, you give a preacher a topic like that and you're always in for a good time. But at the end of the service, we had the traditional backpack blessing. And I love doing this every year. You know, kids carry their backpacks to school every day. They become a part of them. Shoot, they even mold to your body, let alone hang stuff on it. You know, it expresses something about you. And so to pray over those backpacks and to tie them to God as a reminder that God goes with us too is great. So all the kids come up from downstairs in Sunday school and joined us in worship and gathered up front. And as you can see on these pictures, there were a whole bunch of them. And we prayed over those backpacks, and it was a wonderful, beautiful moment. And at the end of it, I had an idea that I wasn't sure if was going to work. It was spur of the moment, but I knew that the benediction was the next thing in the service, and I remembered that I don't always look at it, but I have it on the little screen that we look at in the back as a cheat sheet, and so I told all the kids, you know, look up there, okay, now say the benediction with me, and I outstretched my arm for that moment of sending, and to have them read it with me was a beautiful thing, and I hope it was for you all too. Okay, so the kids went all back downstairs. We had Eileen's cookies. It was also brunch Sunday, and so we had breakfast burritos for brunch Sunday. And then 10:30 service had its own unique kind of celebration. We still prayed for the kids and the teachers and the parents at the end, but at 10:30 Star City Sound joined us. Now that's a community choir that's related to the barbershop organization that's in town, and there were a bunch. So they told us to expect about 40. So that's good. I was in there last week as Michael was setting up chairs to make sure we had a little over 40, you know, so we could accommodate them. We knew it was going to be great. Well, he came up in the break between the services and said, "There's 51. We need more chairs." Now, I don't actually have a final count. It looked like there were more than 51 up there. It was a whole bunch of singers. And 3 times during the service, they sang songs, and it was fantastic. And the songs were great, don't get me wrong, but the hymns were almost the best part when all of us sang together, the congregation and the choir both. I'm not sure that I have ever heard Spirit Hall filled with voices quite like that. It was a beautiful second service. Now, microphones are never going to pick up something like that perfectly, right? You have to experience it in person. But if you want, you can go to our YouTube page in the live, and if you go to the most recent live Trinity worship, you'll be able to hear what that sounded like. It was great. So, okay, so that was the morning, but don't think it ended there either, because in the evening we had youth group, the first youth group of the season, kicking things off, and we had 25 at youth. Our youth group has been growing lately, and last night was no exception at all. Tommy Cox, our youth director, and Patty had a wonderful idea to kick off the season. They did a mystery dinner. I'm not going to go into all of the what that means, but it was great, and the youth had a great time in a very youthy sort of way because of the nature of the mystery dinner, and it was a good kickoff to the year. You know, you build that community, and you build those relationships. That's really what so much of yesterday was about. Now, it is about why do people need Jesus? That's the part I brought, right? But there's something about having those bonds of community and those relationships with others that helps the gospel to take root. And so to see those forming in new Sunday school classes and in our youth group and in the people there on Sunday, to see people eating their breakfast burritos and Eileen's cookies, standing around and talking, I'm like, this right here is the fertilizer that helps those seeds to grow and helps move us all toward Christ and helps our church to grow too. It was great. And so thank you to everybody who was here Sunday. Now, there's an old joke, don't forget we do this every week. We do, of course. Sunday school and youth group and all of that is off and running. This Sunday, we'll continue instead of why do people need Jesus, this Sunday is why do people need the church? Why does community matter? In fact, you heard a little of it come out of my mouth just now, and it will be another good Sunday, and I hope you're here for it. Now, we announced another new thing yesterday, and I want to give that another voice here as well. You may remember that 2 years ago, the last election cycle, we did a campaign called Do Unto Others, and we had these signs that were yellow and purple and red. They were really bold, but you notice those colors are not red, white, and blue, not because we're not patriotic, but because we wanted them to stand out and look different amidst all of the election signs that were out, because the point of this is that in a time when our community when our nation is so divided, we wanted to do something that would break the cycle and to bring people together rather than just taking sides. We typically say blue for the Democrats and red for Republicans. We wanted something that was different to bring people together and something about which we could find common ground. And a lot of you had those Do Unto Others signs in your yards. In fact, there's one still in the yard just up the street from my house. And it is neat to see every time. I've still got mine over on the wall of my office over there. Well, here we are at another election, and we're going to do another one of these. So this year's is this. Ooh, almost knocked over my tea. Let's love one another is this year's campaign. So this is something that everyone can agree on, no matter what you believe about politics or direction for the country or any of this. Now, we're not technically launching this yet. It is still yet to come. We have these signs. They just arrived in house, but we're not going to hand them out for another month or so because we want to wait until we start seeing even more political signs in our community before we send those out. But T-shirt orders take longer, and that's why we're announcing this now to let you know we're doing it. If you would like a T-shirt, in the email that comes along with this video, you will find a link to order one of those T-shirts, and I really hope you will. We've actually gotten a bunch of orders already. We'll undoubtedly do a week once we get closer to the November election to have everybody wear their T-shirts in church on the same day. We'll probably get a picture of that too. But I've seen so many of of you wear your Do Unto Others shirts, don't miss out on having a Let's Love One Another shirt as well. And we will represent in our community, and by represent, I don't mean as Trinity, though that too. I don't mean that, though, so much as I mean represent kindness, represent love for one another, and bringing people together rather than always dividing. You know what? This is a good fall here at Trinity. It's not even fall yet. And yet we have all of these good things planned. So I'm glad you all are a part of it. I hope if you have somebody that you think would benefit from being a part of it and that would help the church to invite them, bring them along. And let's continue this and spread all the good things that are going on. All right. I hope you are staying dry. I think the rain might finally be tapering off. Do we want to check the radar again? I don't suppose it matters since you won't see this video until later. But I hope you're doing well. I hope you're staying dry and safe. And I look forward to seeing you this Sunday too, church.